Hello?
Can you hear me?
You hear me?
Yep.
I can't find the mute on or the stop record. Oh, gosh, it's in a different spot.
Oh, yeah.
It's hot for so long.
Not this early.
And then, yeah, this early too. It is.
5-6 days from now.
And I'd be hot. Ready? Beth, Jason, are you guys ready? Excuse me. At this time, I'll call the July meeting of the East Hempfield Township Zoning Hearing Board to order. Members of the board who are present this evening, Mr. Hanson, Mr. Kyle, Mr. Bingham, and myself. On your far right, my left, we have our solicitor, Jason Hess. We also have our zoning officer, Beth Graham. We have two new cases. Also forgot. We also have our court reporter present, taking the minutes. This board will hear each case in an informal manner without strict compliance with rules and procedures used in a court trial. We ask each applicant and any individuals interested in a particular case, step in front of the table and explain circumstances involved in their application. Applicants may present their case themselves through their attorneys or other representatives. My fellow board members and I, as well as our solicitor, may ask the applicant questions from time to time during the applicant's presentation or at its conclusion. All persons having an interest in the application will be given the opportunity to ask questions of the applicant, to offer evidence of their own, and inform the board of their position on the matter. In the interest of a prompt and orderly disposition of the case, we ask interested people to refrain from speaking until the applicant's presentation has been completed and the board has had the opportunity to question the applicant. At the beginning of each case, people who are interested in the case should decide whether they desire to be parties to it. By being given the status of a party, that person will be entitled to receive notice of the decision and will be entitled to participate in any subsequent rehearing or appeal. Individuals who are not given party status may nevertheless ask questions and present evidence, but will not receive notice of the decision and will not automatically be entitled to participate in any appeal or rehearing. If you desire to be a party, we ask that you sign an entry of appearance form at the appropriate time. And although each party will receive a written copy of the decision, the mechanics of typing and signing the decision will take approximately 4 weeks. We ask that each person who asks a question or makes a statement first state his or her name and address for the court reporter. Now, lastly, in the interest of time, I will administer the oath or affirmation to all applicants and to everyone and anyone who anticipates making any statement with respect to the cases this evening. So at this time, will you all rise? Under penalties of perjury, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, please say I do. Thank you. Stay standing. We'll salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Beth, the cases this evening have been advertised and posted in accordance with the MPC and the Sunshine Law.
They have been.
Thank you. Gentlemen, you have in front of you somewhere the minutes from the May 20th board or zoning hearing board meeting. There are no additions, deletions, or corrections. I'd ask for a motion to approve the board minutes of May 20th, 2024.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Kyle. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Bingham. Any discussion, gentlemen? Seeing none. Gentlemen, in front of us are the board minutes of May 20th, 2024. Mr. Hanson,
In favor.
Mr. Kyle,
In favor.
Mr. Bingham,
In favor.
and I'll also vote in favor. So the board minutes of May 20th, 2024 have been approved. Also, for the record, and everybody knows, not only are we in person, but we're also virtual, we have a virtual, is this Skype or
Zoom.
Zoom? Sorry. So at this point, I don't know if,
Nate, Judy and Cindy.
yeah. So the only ones on right now are Cindy, the township manager, Nate, director of planning, and also say Judy, who will be taking the board's minutes. So please, everyone, when you make any comments, speak into the mics. Okay. Thank you. Okay, Beth, any old business?
No.
Okay, then let's proceed with the first case.
Case number 2483, Peter Bonafide, 1001 Steeplechase Drive, seeking a variance to accessory structures in the front yard.
Is Mr. Bonafide? I'm not sure if that's pronounced right. What? Bonafide. Bonafide. I will guarantee I'll probably mess it up before the night's over again. So you're here. Is there anyone else that's here for this case that wants to be a party to the case? Okay. Seeing none. Mr. Bonafide, would you like to go over there? Please give your name and address so the court reporter can get it.
My name again is Pete Bonafide. I live at 1001 Steeplechase, one word drive, in Lancaster here, off the Centerville and Knoll roads. I've been living there since 2013, grew up in the East Hempfield and graduated in East Hempfield Township.
Excuse me one second. Can you either one of those two mics pull a little closer? Because
Hear me now?
might not be
You almost have to hold it.
You have to be
They're
really.
very
close.
sensitive.
Can you hear me now?
There we go.
Yes, there. Thank you.
Shall I repeat?
No.
Did you catch everything?
Cheryl's good. So please continue.
I am looking for 3 variances on the side of the property for a patio fire pit area. May I provide exhibits?
Please. Give one to Cheryl. She will mark it.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Cheryl, applicants, exhibit one. Yeah, 2 pictures. Okay.
Would you mind if I bring up somebody to go over the pictures?
Please.
My name's Tom Bennett. I live at 2623 Marietta Avenue. I'm a friend of Mr. Bonafide's and trying to help him out on this application. What you have before you are 2 aerial views of Bonafide property. One is a large scale view and the other one depicts the area of, where he wants to install the fire pit. I guess the point I would make from the pictures is that The fire pit's not in the side yard, not in the front yard. I realize technically it might be, but it is in the backyard. I would point out that it's away from any property and there's a significant amount of buffeting between his property and others. If we could sort of skip through the pictures. We page it down there. This is another aerial view, which is the what you have now in front of you. Next slide. And again, it's just another look. It's just an area that's not being used right now on the property. Mr. Bonafide's making a significant investment and improvement in the property with the installation of the patio, rear patio. Next slide. What I'd like to do is just, go around the property, give you some views from the front and the side. Next slide. This is from the front, the corner. Plenty of mature trees, plenty of mature buffering as you go around the property and continue again. You'll notice versus, I'd point out that versus the Google slide, there's significantly amount of additional trees and buffeting that sort of will keep this project away from any of the neighbors. It's not gonna infringe on anyone in any way. Another slide.
Mr. Bennett, no, can I interrupt you quick? Can you go back 2 slides?
I gotta go the whole way.
You can do that at the bottom.
Reason. I'm so sorry, guys.
Want me to help you?
Yeah, if you wanted, this isn't, I'm having a difficult time being able to share this.
Oh, you mean sharing it?
Yeah,
with, you have this up on your computer. Well, you don't need that. Oh,
oh, I gotta go here to share it right there.
We'd have to have 2 very windy houses.
Go again, down there.
That's what I was having trouble with earlier.
Try page down. There, yeah, there.
Looks like there's already a pretty good sized fence here.
Stop. Just the slide, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Okay.
What looks like, and then, if you have a copy of the handout, the applicant's exhibit 1.
I don't. Apologize.
Looks like a rail fence there on lower left corner of the picture before looks like the road.
Yes,
Is that the same,
Is that this fence?
is that this here?
Like going
Here, Mr.
there?
Bonifay. This one here?
It's that
Oh, okay.
fence.
Thank you.
And just to confirm, that fence was put in when the development was put in, correct?
okay.
Thank you.
All right, let's just continue around the property. This is this view from Knowlt Road. Again, this is the mature buffering. Now this is the backyard. Right there is a spot where Mr. Bonafide would like to install the patio. And I'd also note that there's really no other place on the property, or there isn't a better place on the property than right near his home. Next slide. Again. So I guess the point I'd make is that this would be very private wouldn't impinge on any neighbors or anything along that line. And it's appears to be a good spot. Okay, that'll.
Okay. Anything else you want to offer at this point?
Honestly, no, everything that was said is exactly the
Okay.
truth. Just looking to put like I said, it's a patio for enjoyment with the family. There's nothing else. It's away from everybody and that's really it.
Mr. Hanson,
Mr. Bonifini, were you the original owner of this house?
I am the second owner. It was built in 99 and I purchased it in 2013.
Did you put the pool in or did somebody else put the pool in?
I did.
Okay. Because my question, and this is directed more at the township, because you're stating in your submission that the current lot coverage is 36.9%, correct?
Yes, based off of the information I received, yes.
And the township verified that, but my question is to the township, and this would be directed at Nate, because this would have been way before Beth's time. How do we get to 36.9% when the allowable lot coverage is 35? And I think in the old ordinance, it was 30%.
I believe since that pool's been done, it's been 35%. But it ultimately, it's what was put on the application when the pool was done. The contractor who applied for the pool might have calculated it slightly off.
Okay. The other thing is, you're saying that with the new patio, you're gonna add 5.46%, correct?
Yes,
Well, 36.9 and 5.46, I believe equals 42.36%, not, I believe you submitted was 41. I just want to make sure we have the correct numbers.
the footprint that I was given by the contractor was 642 was the square feet of the print area.
I just want to make sure we have the correct numbers. So 42.36 would be the total lot coverage after your fire pit was put in, correct?
That would have to be it, yes.
Okay. You're not planning on taking out any of those trees that we're looking at right now, are you?
No, sir, no.
They would be maintained?
There's no trees coming out on this project.
One of the things I understand, and part of the problem with these corner lots is, by definition, they have two front yards. I understand that, when technically they really don't. What I think one of the conditions I would like to put on this, so it kind of hides, not that I don't want people to see your beautiful new patio, but problem is people see it, now everybody else wants to start doing it. So one of the conditions I think I would put on here is that you must maintain coverage like you see now in the trees, so it can't be seen from Knoll Road. Are you
I would do that, and I planted most of those, sir. So yes, I do want them for
Okay.
privacy.
fantastic? Thank you.
Thank you.
anything else?
Nope.
Gentlemen? Nope. Back to the picture where the fence that runs along Knoll Road. And on your application, you show a red box that I presume the patio is going to fall inside that red box.
I don't think it'll be exactly in said red box. It was just trying to show that area that the pictures are. Yes, that is
So the patio will not encroach to that fence.
No, sir, it will not go past those trees that you see.
Okay. And again, I agree with what Mr. Hanson said. Corner lots are a pain in the backside because it says you have 2 front yards, which means theoretically, you would have to look at it that you'd have 2 backyards instead of a front yard and backyard and side yards. So it does create a problem with any structure that's residential structure that's built on a corner lot. I have nothing more. Jason, questions for the applicant?
Yeah, sir, your application puts the 3 sections that you're requesting variances from. And I believe the second one might be an error. Second one says 270-4.10A2. And the section 4.10, it is C2 that says accessory structures shall not be located within the front yard. So I believe maybe an amendment to the application should be requested to just reflect the correct section. If you wanted to take a look at it, that's fine, but I think it should be C2.
Word for it.
Okay.
We need a variance under a different section of the code.
So yeah, I think that the application should be amended just to reflect the correct section. Would be 270-4.10 C2.
D2, not A2.
Right.
Okay.
Not a problem, sir.
Okay, and the other thing is, I just did a calculation on my phone here. The total of your impervious coverage after the patio would be this 7,719 square feet that you show on the application. It's on the small project stormwater application.
Yes, that was done by the contractor.
Okay, and then dividing that by what the lot, you say the lot size is, which is 19,166 square feet. I come up with 40.27% would be what your lot coverage would be after the patio.
Better.
If anyone else wants to do that calculation, but that's what I'm coming up with.
I'm sorry, say it again.
Okay, Jason, pull the mic a little closer to you. please.
Okay, I just took the total of the impervious surface after the patio will be installed, which they're representing on their small project stormwater application as 7,719 square feet. Would be the total impervious coverage, and if you divide that by the total lot size of 19,166 square feet, just did it on my phone, and I come up with 40.27%. So 40.27%.
40.2. I was just, when I came up with that number I had, Jason, I was just going based on what they submitted.
Okay, yeah, I mean, that's what my calculation is, if those numbers are correct. That's all I had, thanks.
So that's what we'll go with, 40.2.
40.2.
40.2, yeah, that's what I got.
Okay, Beth, any questions?
I don't have any, thank you.
Does anyone in the audience and or on Zoom have any questions for the applicant? Seeing none. Does anyone in the audience or on Zoom have anything to say pertaining to this application, either pro and or con? Seeing none. Okay.
What is the maximum
Terminate
allowable
testimony and then
coverage? And this is 35, so we're gonna do that. Because you exceeded the-
Okay, before we terminate testimony, based on what our solicitor said, we need to amend the application. So you have 274-10A2.
Dash 410C2.
Great. And that needs to be amended to say 270 dash, or 270, yeah, dash 4.210B2.
It would be C2.
Or C2, I said B, sorry, I meant C. B does not have a two. C2. And you agree with that?
Yes, sir.
Request. And then the second thing is that the percent of lot coverage needs to be adjusted to 40.2% total lot coverage once you have the patio and the fire pit put in.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Gentlemen, I need a motion to amend the application to stipulate the three different variances. The second one, 270-410A2 to be 270-4.10C2. And that the total lot coverage after construction of the patio would be 40.2%. Can I have that as a motion, please?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Hanson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Kyle. Discussion, gentlemen? Seeing none, Mr. Hanson,
In favor.
Mr. Kyle. In favor. Mr. Bingham.
In favor.
And I'll also vote in favor. Your application has been amended to reflect the discussions that we had. Okay, with that, gentlemen, conclude testimony in case number 2483. Before I listen to a motion, we will accept applicant's exhibit number 1, which consisted of 2 pictures. So with that, there is no administrative notice to be taken, or prior actions. Gentlemen, I will listen to a motion in case number 2483, if there is one.
Mr. Chairman, in case number 2483, the request of Peter Bonafide for property located at 1001 Steeplechase Drive, Lancaster, PA 17601. Make a motion to grant the following variance request. 270-3.5E2 to allow an accessory structure in the front yard. 270-410C2 to allow accessory structure in the front yard. And section 270-3.5E5 to allow a 5.2% increase in lot coverage for a total lot coverage of 40.2%. With the following conditions. Number one, the blocking tree foliage that is currently existing must be maintained. Storm comes through or something, you would have to replace it. And number two are standard conditions.
What was the 270?
3-5.
That was for accessory in front yard.
No, that was the square lot coverage. The
E2, the first one you give me.
273.E2 is the accessory in the front yard.
Right. That's what I want to get. The 410C2,
Is the specific standard that doesn't allow accessory structure in a front yard.
right.
And 273.5E5 is lot coverage.
Right, which is 40.2. Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Hanson in case number 2483, property at 1001 Steeplechase Drive, Lancaster, PA 17601, to grant variance to section 270-3.5E2 to allow an accessory structure in the front yard. 270-4 C or 410C2 for the standards for accessory structures.
Correct.
And 270-3.5E5 to allow a total lot coverage of 40.2%, which is an increase of 5.2% over the existing. With the following conditions. One, current foliage be maintained. And two, our standard conditions we place on our decisions. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Bingham. Any discussion? I have a question, Mr. Hanson, and I agree with you on the foliage. Should we stipulate that should be no less than the existing foliage,
I'm fine with that.
that it be maintained and replaced if necessary?
I'm fine with that.
You okay with that, John?
Yeah.
Okay.
No problem.
With that little change there, how do you vote, Mr. Hanson?
In favor.
Mr. Kyle?
In favor.
Mr. Bingham?
In favor.
And I will also vote in favor. So in case number 2483, your requests for the variances have been granted with the conditions so stated.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now, if I were you, I'd go home and use the pool.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You want your?
Tom, you don't want to stick around for the next case or?
Okay, Beth, the next case, please.
Case number 2484, Robert Fisher, 543 Champ Boulevard, seeking a variance to the regulations.
Okay, is there anyone here, either Mr. Fisher or somebody, for case number 2484?
I'm Rob Fisher, and this is Lindsay Washington from Sinorama.
Okay, is there anyone in the audience or on Zoom that wants to be a party to this case? Seeing none? Okay. Mr. Fisher, just again, state your name and address for the court reporter, please. Sure.
Robert Fisher. I live at 547 Champ Boulevard. And the address of what we're talking about is 543 Champ Boulevard. We have gone through land development for what we're calling the Meadow Garden Mercantile, which is a small retail pole barn and a small greenhouse. And it's on the property, as you look at that diagram up there, it's between the hotel and the current farmhouse that's back there.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Beth, can you blow that up a little bit, please?
And yeah,
And
make
then-
sure you also speak into the
Okay.
mic, please.
And then also, Mr. Fisher, once she blows it up, can you point out where the new business is going, please? On that screen.
Can you point it to
In the
that one?
back. Okay.
I think you're gonna have to slide that over a little bit.
Yeah, we gotta get to the hotel. So this is Spooky Nook Road here, and then we have the private lane that comes back. This is the hotel. This is the parking for the hotel. Off the back of the hotel parking lot is a gravel overflow. If you guys remember, this property used to be used for weddings, and we've heard the township's request to be careful about that, and so my family and I now live in the residence. There are no more weddings there, although Mrs. Grube's daughter had a wedding at the place before we changed over, so. Right, a little close. Okay, so this is a current tobacco barn. This is the land in between. If you can just zoom out one little bit, I think it'd probably be helpful. Okay, great. So this is the private lane that comes back to the farmhouse. And there's another farmhouse that's back in here, and the private lane extends back here to one other residence. Anyway, the meadow's going in here. It's gone through land development, land planning and everything. We're here tonight to talk about the sign for the property, for the business that's going to be run there. I'm one of the owners of Roar Seeds out in the Smoketown area. The parent company of what's going in here is as the Meadow Garden Mercantile. And so we've contracted Sinorama to work with us on developing a good sign. And you know, there's some specific issues with the property as far as signage goes. And we think we've come up with a great idea. I know I care about keeping the property looking nice and simple and clean, as my residence is back there as well. And we want to, you know, take care to do the right thing for the neighbors as well. So instead of, you know, trying to do a variance for another big sign out by the road, what we're asking to do is add to the current Comfort Suite sign that's there, stay below the threshold for a sign like that. And we think that has the smallest impact on anything. I know typically, you know, with a waiver, you need a hardship. Well, for us, we're going to need signage because we sit the business sits so far back off Spooky Nook Road. And so, Lindsay's gonna share a little bit about the sign and what we're planning on doing.
Before you go, Mr. Fish, a couple questions for you.
Sure.
So you said you currently live in the house,
Yes,
The old farmhouse.
the old farmhouse?
yes,
You currently own the hotel also?
I'm one of the owners of the hotel, yes.
Okay, that's good for now. Thank you.
Okay.
Just on that question though, that the record owner, the name of the record owner is actually was it Spooky Champ Properties LP, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you're one of the owners of that entity.
There are a couple of different entities that own that and the real estate and all that.
Okay.
stuff, so, yes.
Okay.
Beth, are you able to pull the booth up?
Make sure you speak in the microphone,
Sorry.
please.
Lindsay Washington? So while she's doing that, you're still able to see what I'm talking about as far as the setback goes. So the comfort sign was in a 6 foot, so it's 6 feet from the right of way currently, which it has to be 12 feet. So we're going for a 6 foot setback to add to the existing structure. We're not modifying the structure in any way. We're just adding a sign to it, keeping it at 79.75 square feet. So we're in code with all of the other regulations. We're just asking for that 6 foot setback. So that is what we are proposing. We're going to take off the existing skirting, go into the steel post underneath. And again, staying within code for everything else, which will help them because they sit about just under a quarter mile back with their property. So this is going to allow their customers from the main road, which is Spooky Nook, to see that from both ways coming off of the highway. It's not illuminated. No electrical, anything involved. We're just simply installing a sign on the existing structure, which myself and Rob, well, I'm not sure if Rob did, but we didn't have any part of that permit. So as far as that setback goes, I'm not sure how that went with being 6 feet back right now where it's supposed to be 12.
The meadow sign that you're adding to the existing sign. If my math is correct, your existing sign is 49.4 square feet, correct?
Yes.
So what's the dimensions that you'll be adding?
It is 86.5 inches wide by 37.59 inches high.
86 wide by what?
86.5 wide by 37.59 high.
You say you are going to remove that blue skirting underneath?
Yeah, the skirting is just on, that's just for cover purposes. So we are going to remove that and we're going to drill directly into the steel post and that's how it's going to be fixed. We're going to put this blue skirting back on. We just have to take it off in order to fasten the sign properly.
The sign going to be lighted?
No,
Now, is the Comfort Inn sign lighted?
yes, it is.
So this will sit there, but we'll have no lighting.
Correct.
Okay. I guess for Nate. Or let me back up. I'm sorry. This should be, this sign should be 12 feet outside the right of way.
Correct.
You're saying it's how far into the right of way?
6 feet.
So it's only 6 feet off the right of way.
Correct. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it sits back off Spooky Nook very, very far already for the Comfort Suites, but there was a right of way that's between there and there. So it's not the typical setback from the road because of that.
This in the state right away or the township right away?
Beth, do you know?
It,
Here. That's what I'm trying to do now.
that picture that was up in that car on there, that is the ramp to go to 283, correct?
That is the current ramp that goes to 283, yes.
Okay. So if you're 6 feet from that ramp, I would say it's state right away.
Well, yeah, it's way more than the 6 feet from there, yeah.
These are all our other cases.
What's that?
The other cases that we had about with the stipulation. So I don't know.
Jason, with state right of ways, don't they need PennDOT permission?
I'm not aware of whether you need PennDOT permission for.
Nate, do you know?
I mean, they're still outside of the right of way though for this one.
Thought the right of way was 12 feet.
Oh, the right of way is on that drawing, that curved line that the red arrow touches. Beth, can you point it out?
I see the curved line.
Yeah, that's the right of way line. So when they applied for the sign, the original permit for it indicated it 12 feet back. It's out of the right of way. It's just closer than it was installed closer than it should have been.
So if we knew it was installed closer than it should have been, why wasn't it originally told to remove and put it back to 12 feet? Would be the question.
I'm not sure. I believe this was installed in 2015 or 16.
Which I know is before your time.
We just saw this when we were evaluating their requests.
Would it be unnecessary hardship for you to move that sign back to where it's within the 12 feet outside the right of way?
The sign that we're adding,
No, the whole,
that would be a huge undertaking for the size project that we have.
Yeah, at that point, we would have to dig all of the concrete footers, all of the electric, move all of that back. It's gonna cost more to move the whole sign back than really to probably knock it down and do a whole new sign at that point.
and I understand that. My issue here is you have an existing sign that shouldn't be in its location to begin with, especially since it was permitted for 12 foot off the right of way. When it was permitted, it was shown to be outside the right of the 12-foot line.
Correct. Yeah, and that's why we're going for the variance, because again, we weren't the sign company that installed that. So unfortunately, that's why we're just trying to help Rob out with his sign. But as far as that structure goes, that's out of our hands.
But you're only asking for the one variance, correct?
That's correct.
Because my interpretation of the ordinance, I think you need two variances.
Okay.
Because if you read the definition for a freestanding sign, it's to promote one business. You want to put two signs on there promoting two different businesses. So to me, you would need a second variance to allow for a second sign, business on that sign.
Follow up with Mr. Hanson. Really, and that's a two-pronged one. One is they're allowed one freestanding sign.
Right.
So if they, theoretically could come in and ask for another freestanding sign, which would be for a variance.
Well,
So now they want to put it on one pole, so the variance would be to have two on the one pole.
correct.
And so it's the two signs plus the overall concept of allowing
Within,
two
the-
freestanding on the one property.
in discussions with Jason earlier, instead of three, we just need the two.
Yeah, if it's worded correct, properly, we can, show it as that, but just so somebody else doesn't look at it and saying, well, on another parcel, well, we can always put two signs on one and it's classified as one. We don't want that. So I agree with you, but we just have to make sure
Yep.
Jason words it right.
Yeah, when I looked at this application, I thought you were asking for two variances because on the variance request page, it lists the section of ordinance. It says number of business and identification sign section. It seemed to me you were asking for one, a variance for two signs, not one, and also a variance because of the setback. it-
The application had changed quite a bit since our initial submission with Beth, so I was kind of just going with what I was told at that point. But we can certainly change it to two variances, but that's at the last application that I had submitted to her. I was under the impression we were going for one variance at this point, and this was the way we were going to go about it.
Okay.
Happy to do it. We've tried to do the project the right way the whole time.
And Mr. Fisher, I understand that, and I understand your hardship about moving it, but my issue is it shouldn't be there in the first place. And I don't know how it got there. And I know Mr. Sturgis was not here at the time this place was built. So I especially since it was permitted to be outside the 12-foot requirement, and so all of a sudden now it showed up within 6 feet.
That surprised me too. I was not involved in the building side. We're happy to do what you guys want us to do, whatever's gonna make that work, but we're trying to make the most of a situation that we need to figure out how to get it done.
Okay, thank you.
Is it something that we could do the two variances tonight? Is that what we're talking about, or do we?
You would just need to make a request to amend your application, yes.
Okay. Well, then I would love to formally make that request to amend that application. Thank you for the feedback on that. And Beth, I do want to thank you for your help on this. I know you've been a sounding board on a lot of stuff, so we appreciate it.
Forget where we were at.
Asking questions.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Sorry.
Are you done, Jason?
Well, I did have, that was my question about that, but I had another, that the land development plan that you're doing with the township, it does, so you're keeping it all as one property, correct? You're not turning it into two lots?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, 1 second. And the addition of the addition of this second sign won't cause it to be any closer to the right of way.
No.
Will it? Okay.
No, it's taking what's already there and just adding.
Okay. So it's sort of like perpendicular to Champ Boulevard, the sign.
It would be almost parallel to Champ Boulevard, perpendicular to Spokane.
Okay.
Our temporary sign that's out there is close to the road. It's not, I don't love that space anyway. We'd much prefer.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else, Jason?
No, that's all. Thank you.
Beth? Anyone in the audience or on Zoom have, oh, wait, I asked you guys, did you or John have any questions? Okay, does anyone in the audience or on Zoom have questions for the applicant? Yes, ma'am.
My name's Deborah Grube. I live at 647 Champ Boulevard, the farmhouse behind their farmhouse. I don't have an issue with the sign. And I don't know that this is the correct place, but I'd like to know what the plans are for the property. I guess that's land development, so they can't discuss that here.
You can ask the question and they can decide whether they want to answer it here.
I'm happy.
Okay, I just am surprised that you didn't do that already. Don't want to start a fight between neighbors, but we live very close and I just wonder how traffic is going to go through the property. And if I could request, I have requested with Kevin, one of the owners, which you were all owners when the property was initially developed and built, that a stop sign be put coming out of the hotel onto Champ Boulevard.
Onto the private.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean, coming out there?
As we pull back the private.
Yes, where you come out of the hotel. Because I've also been almost hit several times. Yeah, from the hotel parking lot. Correct. And coming in, I don't know how your traffic's going to work there. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions for Mrs. Grube? Seeing none. Anybody else have questions, comments? Anyone have comments pro or con on this application? Okay, 1 second.
I'm sorry, is it Ms. Washington? So Beth, can you put the sign back up? While she's doing that, the current Comfort Inn sign is 78 inches by 92 inches, which is 49.4 square feet. The one you're adding is basically 7.2 feet by 3.125 feet, which gives you 22.5 square feet, which is 71.9 square feet. But if you take 132.76 and you multiply that by 86.5 inches, you come up with 79.6 square feet. My question is, just to make sure all our numbers are correct, is it 79.6 square feet or is it 71.9 square feet?
I have 79.75, which
Okay.
includes the dead space in between,
79 point,
79.75.
okay.
Mark, the way we measure signs is that, you see the red rectangle, all
Right.
that space in between, so she's including all that.
I just want, because I had mentioned the numbers earlier and everybody said, okay, now I was looking again, we had two different numbers.
Yeah, definitely 79.75 is what I have.
Thank you.
Yep.
Is that it?
Mr. Chairman, I have one other thing to point out, that the as long as you're making a request for an amendment, the first page of the application lists table 270-7.4.2 that is the applicable section. I believe it's table 270-7.4.1
Yeah.
is the requirements for freestanding signs.
Jason? I think it's one, too. That's
Okay.
one of the things I had.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, Mr. Fisher, I know Jason covered this, what is the correct name of the owner? Because it actually is listed under the LLC, correct? Who owns the whole property? Because if I'm correct, that's who needs to be on the application also.
And I agree with that. Should be the actual record owner.
Okay, what's the third change? One is the section, one is the owner of record. What was the third one, Jason?
Second variance.
Oh, second variance. Okay, Mr. Fisher, I presume you do want the application to be amended to stipulate that the owner of record, instead of being Robert Fisher, would be Spooky Champ Properties. Okay. The reference under general information of table 270-7.4.2 should read table 270-7.4.1. And then a second variance request to allow, two signs on, lack of a better word, one pole within 6 feet of the right-of-way line instead of the 12 feet. Is that correct, Jason?
I think you got it. Yep.
Okay. You heard the motion. I'll make the motion for that. We don't have to go through it again. Do I have a second?
Yeah, second.
Second by Mr. Bingham. How do you vote, Mr. Hanson?
In favor.
Mr. Kyle? In favor. Mr. Bingham?
In favor.
And I also vote in favor. Your application has been amended to reflect the changes that were discussed. Now, is there anything either of you two want to add before we close testimony? Okay, at this time then, we will conclude testimony in case number 2484. We will take administrative notice of case 2373 and case 2449, which will be made part of the record. There is no additional exhibits. So, gentlemen, I will listen to a motion in case number 2484, if there is one.
Mr. Chairman, in case number 2484, make them for property owned by Spooky Champ Properties located at 543 Champ Boulevard, Manheim, PA, to grant the request for one, a variance to section 270-7.4.1 to allow for a freestanding sign to encroach 6 feet into the 12-foot setback from the right-of-way. And two, to grant a variance to section 270-7.4.1 to allow two businesses to co-locate on the same freestanding sign. Following conditions, number one, standard conditions. And number two, with the addition of the new sign, square footage cannot exceed 79.75 square feet.
That's your motion.
Yes, sir.
Do I have a second? Second. Second, Mr. Kyle. Forest, gentlemen. In case number 2484. Applicant Spooky Champ Properties. At property of 543 Champ Boulevard to grant following variances. 270-7.4.1 to allow freestanding sign to be within 6 feet of the right of way. A 6-foot variance from the required 12 feet. And two, to 270-7.4.1 to allow two business signs to be co-located on the same structure or with the following conditions. One, our standard conditions we apply to cases, and two, that the total signage of the two businesses shall not exceed 79.6 square feet.
79.75.
Oh, yeah. I wrote the 6 there. 79.75 square feet. Thanks. That's it.
Yes, sir.
We had a second. Any discussion?
Yes.
Mr. Hanson?
Mr. Fisher, I understand wanting to locate two signs on one pole. I understand that completely. What's got me torn here is how we had a sign permitted to be outside the 12-foot right-of-way and ended up within the 12-foot right-of-way. I'm not sure how that occurred. I really can't currently blame anybody at the township because none of them were here at that point. I will be voting in favor of your variance request. But I just went on the record that I'm torn here because that sign should not be there. I do, however, like the fact instead of having two signs, you're only having one sign.
Just to follow up with Mr. Hanson, I agree, and I also, it's in the testimony, I know it wasn't made a condition, but the second sign, not the hotel sign, will not be lit, which takes some of the issue off. The only reason that I will be voting in favor is because when that sign was put in, they're probably some of the blame. One is on the contractor that was hired, but also for the township not catching it when they reviewed the plans. Otherwise, I would have to just say that there's no reason for the economic hardship, which is not a hardship when you go for a variance. But in this case, since the original sign was put in number of years ago, and it should have been caught then because the township could have forced the contractor and you or the owners could have forced the contractor to move it at their expense. Anything else, gentlemen? Mr. Hanson,
In favor.
Mr. Connell?
In favor.
Mr. Bingham?
In favor.
I'll also vote in favor. Your request has been granted with the conditions so stated as it reflects on the amended application.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you with everyone.
Beth, do you have good news for August?
Pardon?
Do you have good news for August?
Well, if you like meetings, I do. We have one so far,
Okay, good.
When's the last date?
Friday.
Okay. Okay,
I don't know of any others, so.
that's fine. Okay. That is August 19th.
Yep.
Hey, Cheryl. Jason,
Yeah, I'm available.
board members?
Good chance I won't be here.
Okay,
I should be.
yeah, hi,
I
should be. Next week. Okay, with that. There's no other business, Beth?
No.
Okay, this meeting stands adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Cheryl, thank you.